My name is Jeremy Bloom. I'm Circulate San Diego's COO, and welcome to our press conference on our latest report, the Powerless Brokers. I am going to now introduce our CEO, Colin and the author of the report.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Thank you everyone for being here for the release of the Powerless Brokers. My name is Colin. I'm the CEO and General Counsel with Circulate San Diego. And this is a report about what some might call a very dry topic, the third-party pre-construction permitting issues. But you all here are journalists who care about serious policy issues, and so I'm very grateful for you all being here and covering this story. So as a lot of folks know, in California, building transit is slow and expensive. And the transit we need to meet our climate and mobility goals too often doesn't get built. And this is something that Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson wrote in their latest book, Abundance, that you might have heard something about. And what that says, and what this report also says, is we need to take a hard look at our policies in blue states to make sure that we are not standing in our own way to get the public goods and services that we need. We can't secure the abundance of public transit with the policy systems and regulations that we have today. So in the public's imagination, transit authorities, and we've got some transit right behind us. In the public imagination, people think that transit agencies decide about building transit. They think that once they get their environmental reviews and get their funding secured and get their boards of directors of elected officials to decide to build something, that they can build something. But that's actually not the case here. Before transit can be built, transit authorities must seek third-party permits from local governments, special districts, state agencies, and public and private utilities. Our report, The Powerless Brokers, focus on the many third-party permitting challenges that face transit that are arbitrary, excessive, and avoidable. And this report contains case studies from across California documenting permitting issues that add costs and delays to transit. The case studies range from the largest project in California, high-speed rail, to a small busway on the Central Coast. And high-speed rail has been in the news a lot lately. And what people have been hearing is that time and again, local governments and special districts are holding that project hostage. And that's meant tens of billions of added costs and decades of delay. The Trump administration has said that they're going to take away funding because they don't see any real prospect of it being able to get finished. In California, we need to prove them wrong. And the Powerless Brokers has a variety of recommendations toward that end. It includes things like reassigning some permitting responsibility from those third parties to transit authorities themselves so that they're able to build. And incentivizing local governments to prioritize transit, to adopt transparent standards, and to streamline permitting. We do have some rays of hope, though. Right behind us is the recently constructed Mid-Coast Trolley Extension, a project by Sandag, the Regional Transportation Agency. That project was done on time and without the kinds of permitting challenges and delays that we've seen elsewhere in California. And that was done through a variety of reasons. Part is we have a great collaborative environment here in San Diego for transportation, but it's also because Sandag possesses certain authorities under California law that help them smooth through that process. And what that shows is that granting transit authorities more responsibility can have better outcomes for the public. And we should be looking at revising our laws in California, taking examples like we have at Sandag, and expanding them elsewhere so we're able to get more of the transit that we need. So our full report is online at circulatesd.org/Powerless Brokers. And now I'm pleased to introduce Senator Catherine Blakespear, who is also, not only is she a state senator, but a great advocate for transit, and also the former head of Sandag. Senator?
Well, good morning, and thank you everybody for being here today. My name is Catherine Blakespear, and I serve as the state senator representing the 38th District, which includes coastal northern San Diego County and southern Orange County. And I'm very proud that this very location where we're standing is in the southeastern part of the 38th District. I'd like to thank all of you for being here today, and particularly thanks Circulate San Diego for producing this report, and all of the many partners and law review students and others who were very involved in making sure that all parts of this report are extremely accurate. I care very much about this topic, so I was grateful to be invited to this press conference. Our ability to deliver infrastructure projects on time and on budget is critical if we are going to be meeting all of our goals, whether they're public health goals, or climate change goals, or public safety goals, or just in general meeting people where they are, which is that they need to get around on public transit. In the State Senate, I chair the Senate Environmental Quality Committee, and I also chair the Senate the Transportation Subcommittee on Low Sand Rail Corridor Resiliency. So what we do there is we take up policy conversations about our environment and how to make our rail line work better, and those are two topics that I'm also very passionate about. When we site, construct, and operate transit quickly, we make progress toward these goals, the air quality, mobility goals, and it's a big win for everyone. It was a priority of mine as a local city council member, as the Encinitas mayor, and through my service as SANDAG chair, that we deliver the Mid-Coast Trolley project. And it's fitting that we are here today at this very same station where we held our ribbon cutting in 2021 and looking at the amazing connectivity that we delivered on because of that project. I'm proud of the work we did to connect more residents of San Diego County to sustainable, high-quality transit services, and we did it on time and on budget. We need to have more projects like this, which was one of the biggest transit projects in our region. It was $2.2 billion that it cost. So that needs to be the standard for project delivery and not the exception. Too often we can let our own processes get in our way. We get in our own way and we delay decisions. We ultimately get into an analysis paralysis situation and we let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So we end up with projects that are scaled down, delayed, sometimes altogether canceled, which is what some people are calling for with high-speed rail, which would be really misguided in my opinion. The stakes for our public infrastructure, including those necessary for public transportation, are high. The state and local partners agree that we need more sustainable, reliable, and high-performing transit services. And how do we do this? Well, the report is clear. We need public transit and infrastructure management reform. We can make our own processes better and maintain important community and environmental protections while we empower our transit and planning partners to build more efficiently and quickly. We have made progress here in San Diego region, but there is more that we must do to ensure that everyone in California has access to transit services. We need to focus on the goals, which are transit needs to be convenient, frequent, offer a competitive alternative to driving. It needs to be reliable. I'm grateful for the hard work of Circulate because policymakers can take action on these recommendations that have been produced in this report. As is pointed out in the best-selling book Abundance, it's time that we take a hard look at what is getting in the way of the progress we want. And this is across the board, across all levels of government, from transit to housing to everything, broadband, everything. I'm excited for the future of transportation and public infrastructure projects in our region and in communities that millions of Californians call home. Projects like these protect and improve the Low Sand Rail Corridor, which is the only transit connection between San Diego and the rest of the country, and it's vital for the future of our region. We need to consider, prioritize, and deliver these projects that will make transit quicker and more reliable. And they must be delivered on time amid what is an increasingly uncertain funding environment. So we have no time to waste with important sustainable milestones in the years ahead. The state plans for more than 200 million passenger miles to be shifted from highways to the statewide rail network. If you think about that, 200 million passenger miles. 75% of all passenger trips made by personal vehicles are well positioned to shift to sustainable rail services. This would be transformational change in how people get around. But that kind of level of success, it requires the reforms that we are here today to discuss. Because we cannot go beyond the status quo if we continue doing things the way we have been doing them. We need to think differently. In closing, I'd like to again recognize Circulate San Diego and the partner agencies that are here today for this important conversation. And with that, I will turn it over to the Congressman, Congressman Scott Peters.
Thank you, Senator. It's great to be here. I want to start by thanking Circulate San Diego, which is a remarkable institution we have here that I don't know that many places have. Circulate does high-quality work. It's reliable for policymakers. It's got integrity. It's smart, and it's imaginative. I just think San Diego's really fortunate to have this kind of output from an organization that cares about these issues, that's not part of the government, it's independent, so it can take a really fresh, hard look at it. So I hope you all take a good look at this report, as I have and will continue to do. I'm really think this is an appropriate place to talk about this, because I've been involved in this project, the extension of the Mid-Coast line, since I was a baby council member back in the 2000s. When we started out talking about it was about 2002, and we decided we wanted to extend the trolley line from Old Town to the major job center we have up in UTC, UCSD area, and connect the university. We committed to that course of action. We got the voters of this region to support the project by extending the half-cent sales tax in 2004 by a margin of 3,000 votes countywide. We had to get a 2/3 vote, but it was a 2/3 vote. So the county was really supportive of this project. And then we went into the planning process. And what I was happy to see Circulate say that this went well, because we did come in on time, and I think under budget. But even this process took such a long time. And it wasn't until I was in Congress that the region applied for the federal match. So the way this worked was local taxpayers put up about $1 billion. The federal government matched that with $1 billion. And I was able to vote on that in Congress. We were able to complete this project in 2021, almost 20 years after we first started talking about it. But it's a great asset for us to connect the university and the job center to the rest of the region. At the federal level, I've been trying to pay attention to how we spend federal dollars and how we leverage federal dollars. I have a bill called Build More Housing Near Transit that I think will be passed this term, that makes what you build next to the trolley line part of your competition for federal money. So in other words, we're going to ask regions from now on to show us what housing, what activities, what land uses are you going to put next to our trolley line, because we want more ridership, right? And that's going to happen around here as UCSD expands, and as we develop these areas around these trolley stops. We're going to see more people riding the trolley, because it's going to be the easiest way to get around. And I think that's all to the good. Locally, I've helped the YIMBY movement here, but we started a YIMBY caucus, a Yes in My Backyard caucus in Congress, and we've started the Build America caucus in Congress as well, a bipartisan effort to sort of reduce permit barriers to infrastructure investment in the United States. I think finally I would just say that there's a cruel irony in the fact that many of the obstacles to getting things done like this trolley line are environmental laws that we set up to protect the environment. We have an absolutely pro-environment project like public transit, but it gets caught up in a lot of permitting and a lot of review that was meant to slow down bad things. And it's on all of us at the federal, state, and local level to modernize our laws to make sure that we're supporting these pro-environmental actions and that we make them go faster. Because the environmental movement is not on defense anymore, we are on offense. We have to build more. We have to build more transit, more electricity transmission, more offshore wind, utility scale solar. We are in a build mode, and we have to modernize our laws to do that. And looking ahead, I would just say I want to thank Senator Blakespear for leading the effort on the Lausanne connection, which she mentioned. We have the second busiest Amtrak train in the United States is between Los Angeles and San Diego. So after Boston to Washington, which everybody knows about, the second busiest Amtrak train is between Los Angeles and San Diego. It's about to fall into the water almost, right? And we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars just to shore that up. We need to really get out of our own way and see if we can't make that a 2-hour ride, and really make that the most viable way to get back between these two cities. That's good for the environment. It's also good for our economy, and I think everyone in San Diego should be asking about that, what we can do to make sure we improve that, and to support these people as we modernize these laws and these structures so we can get that important project done. But again, thanks again to Circulate, because without them, I think a lot of this would be unknown to us. We have the hard data to rely on to make the right decisions going forward. I'm happy to be here today to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you all for being here. As we wrap up, we're going to be sticking around and available to do one-on-ones on camera. We also have press packets my colleague Maria has for you in blue. And Octavio is my colleague also from Circulate, who's available to give interviews in Spanish as well. And so before we wrap up, actually, Octavio, if you could join us on this side, and then we'll do one more photo. Here you go. Anyone else wants to be a photo, welcome to as well.
One, two, three.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Okay. All right.
For Telemundo? Yeah.